All right, today we're gonna go check out another drummer's home studio setup, and today our guest is Tim Buell. All right, so Tim is a professional drummer. I actually found him here on YouTube from his YouTube channel, which is fantastic. I'll link it down below. He's a session drummer. He does lessons. He actually does transcriptions. And of course, he has his YouTube channel, which makes a bunch of videos that are very valuable and entertaining to watch. So I would strongly recommend you go over to his channel and subscribe to his stuff as well. Hit that like button, subscribe to the channel so you can see more of these studio tours, which are coming up this month. Let me know what you think of Tim's studio down in the comments as you're watching. Check out some of the links down in the description. Thank you to Sweetwater for sponsoring this video. And Tim, take it away.
Hey, I'm Tim Buell. Welcome to my home studio. Bonus room, garage is underneath us. It's usually not a problem unless someone opens the very noisy garage doors.
Does it shake the whole floor like it does mine?
It doesn't shake the floor, but it's a certain growl that pretty much every microphone will pick up. Yeah, this room is something that grew over time. I went to Belmont, did 4 years there, studying music, nerdy about, all I want to do, play live, all I want to do is tour. Graduated, toured full time for several years with a bunch of different artists, and eventually was like, maybe I don't want to be gone for 250 days a year for the rest of my life. What else could I do? And this room, we had just moved into the house, and I was like, I could make some educational content. So I started getting some mics together, bought a camera, set up, and people were seeing the videos I was putting out on Instagram and YouTube and stuff like that. And eventually people were like, hey, I've seen your videos, do you record? And I was like, well, sure, yeah. I was trying to figure out how to make money not touring anyway. So I was like, yeah, that sounds amazing. So I did a couple sessions and a couple more sessions, and then bought some more mics. And then I was like, wait a second, I kind of love this thing. It was a process, but I just last year in May, I redid it. Pulled out the carpet, took down the ceiling fan. I had hodgepodge together several different kinds of treatment and whatever, and I wrapped it all and made it look somewhat cohesive, and did the floors, and with the help of my dad, did all of it, just me and him, and painted, and now we got this. Most of what I'm doing these days is just drum overdubs for people, remote recording, but I did want to have it be a place where we could do live sessions. So I do have hearbacks that I can pull out, and all around the room, the Ethernet cables are stashed where if I need, stuff, I can just roll those out, plug them in, they're good to go. These black panels behind the drum rack here, all of those come out and can be hinged together so we can get baffles going if
oh, cool,
you want to tighten up the drum area or whatever. So, just trying to think of how can I not always have things out, but how can they be really easily pop it out when you need it kind of thing, accessible. All the cables here, my computer's back here, but the interface is over by the drums. So it was okay, how do I have a bunch of cables, but not having them, laying around everywhere? So I just built this little
sweet
cable trough that
I've been dreaming of doing this for mine.
It's easy, dude. And it hides all the cables, but they're not buried somewhere so you can't get to them. They're not
brilliant.
Because that was the other thing. These panels aren't attached, so that panel is hiding a bunch of different cables that I need sometimes.
Oh, yeah.
You just pull it out when you need it, and then it's there. And when it's not there, it's kind of out of sight, out of mind.
Yeah, I didn't even notice that.
Same thing, hiding the computer and everything back here. You can get a shot of that. I don't want cables everywhere, but I also don't want to have to move a bunch of stuff to get to cables or whatever. So having it hidden but still easily accessible was a huge priority for me. Tom's set up all the time, ready to go, but they aren't out in the room a bunch. They're not taking up space, and if I ever need, someone comes over and has something we got to plug in, I can just pull one of those lines. They're already tied into preamps and it's all good to go. Trying to find the balance of hiding stuff away so it looks clean, but not hiding stuff away so that you have to move a bunch of stuff to get to it.
You don't start from scratch every session.
No. And the closet is actually really huge. It's weird how like long the closet goes down. So I used to store drums in there until I realized
nice,
that.
Dude, I don't even have a closet. Closet would be a game changer.
Yeah, and I haven't even really like, because I haven't needed to, I just, when I moved back in here after the reconstruction, I just like put everything where it would work and then forgot about it. So it's not even like I've super maximized that space. I'm about to move room mics into there.
Oh, that'll be huge.
Gonna run a line through, because I also want to have a patch bay over here kind of, so that when like guitar players are sitting in this chair here, they don't have to like, we don't gotta run cables anywhere. So the attic is really easy to get to, and like that is actually hanging from the attic because I didn't want to put like heavy panel from drywall. So there's like 2x4s that we drilled into that have rods coming down.
Nice.
So the attic's super easy to get to. So I'm gonna run a patch bay, like just get a couple inputs easy to plug in over here and move room mics in there, because I actually just experimented it yesterday and they sound awesome in there. This is the most important part of the world for me, so that's why preamps live over here. I found myself getting real lazy when preamps were over by the desk to like getting up and whatever, and it also kind of keeps cables and stuff like over here. More and more with the new space, I'm trying to do like more live tracking because it's fun, and I have the ability to do it now. For the most part, I'm remote recording, and I sit here and, you know, can very easily play drums, edit, comp, whatever, play more drums. I have like perk mic that lives here all the time. It's ready to go when I want to do percussion. And yeah, this screen mirrors the computer. I have the ability to like mute speakers from over here, because the worst thing ever is like having to get up to mute
I know
speaker.
that whole game, dude.
Yeah, and I have a fan on this rack that can cool stuff if I want. So that's there to remind me to turn this fan off, and I actually have an external fan for my Mac Mini that I have a reminder to turn off, because then it's really quiet in here. Even if the AC's going, it's like pretty quiet in here.
Absolutely.
So
especially relative to drums.
Yeah,
Especially relative to drums.
so it's a lot of like just remote artist, producer sends me something, we do it. But it's also, I have a production partner, we do a lot of sync music, like music cues. That to me is like part drumming, but also just part producing. A lot of them are like very drum-centric type things. So I'll start, whether it's live drums or whether it's programmed drums or whatever, I'll start it all, get like a basic layout, get sounds dialed, and then send it to him, and he'll add little ear candy and make it very sync specific, target audience in mind type stuff. And then I also have like a lot of educational stuff I do, you know, is both for drum nerd people and like drum recording people. So that's another thing that I do here.
Excuse me for 1 second. Check this out. This is a brand new snare drum from Ludwig. This is one of 4 new snare drums that Ludwig has released as a part of their Acro snare series. Check out this other one. This is the classic maple 6.5 by 14. It's so good. All right, now this last one here is actually kind of nuts. This is the universal metal snare from Ludwig. It's $349. This thing sounds ridiculously good. I think it's 5.5 by 14. All 3 of these snares, just between the 3 of these, you can cover pretty much anything. Either way, if you want to check out some snare drums, check the links down in the description. Thank you to our friends at Sweetwater for sponsoring these studio tours, and yes, many more studio tours coming. So don't forget to hit that subscribe button, and you can see them when they come out. All right, back to you, Tim.
I want a small amount of gear that does a lot of stuff. Like this kick drum, it's a Kent 60s kick drum. It's got the original 60s head on it. Whoa. And I have it, like, as you can see, there's no front head. So if I want like a super dead stuff, I can just pack it full of stuff. It's cool. If I want a super boomy, marching, big bass drum type thing, I just pull all of it out. That to me is easier than like swapping out for a new kick drum. That's kind of the philosophy. I have like, these are just like general tuned toms, but I also have the Rogers, 1970s Rogers that are over there. They're tuned for like higher up jazz stuff. The roto toms and, you know, that other sparkly floor tom, those don't have bottom heads on them. So if I need to do that thing.
Oh, cool.
So my thing is like, I just want enough drums to cover all the different basses. The most important thing for me is snare drums. So like all of those snare drums are tuned a particular way, and they just like do the thing really quickly. So like this guy, it's a small guy, but it's got dampening is actually under the rim. it's cool because you can like do the really low tuned cloth over the head thing, but then as you tune it up, you can get a really different texture than just like draping a towel over the drum. So that thing just lives like that. And that's a cheap drum. It's like a $60 child's drum. Same with it, like this is all from a child, like that's a child's 18-inch kick drum. It sounds incredible. So that's also my thing is like if I don't have to pay a lot of money, why would I? This is like an $80 student drum, tuned super high and not a lot of overtones and just like does that thing. This is like very, very low tune, like same pitch as a low tune tom thing, and it just does the like, it rules. You cannot use a rack tom when that's up though. The like resonant frequencies are like way too aggressive.
Yeah.
It's almost impossible. And then this thing is like the boosh, that's that thing. This thing is kind of general, like if you just need like a snare drum that you can tune to something and it just kind of sounds like a normal snare drum. That's what that thing does. This is the like low tuned but still a little bit of crack snare drum, and then that sugar percussion is like my favorite drum I own, and that's just like
that snare.
You just want a snare drum that has body and crack and just the right amount of ring. So the whole thing is painted poplar. So I love recording this. Every session I've ever brought this to, I wait and I'm like, I think this is the song where like you just want a snare drum with like a little bit of ring and a little life, and like I'll put this up and like drummers, non-drummers, engineers, doesn't matter who's around, they're like, whoa. And that is a testament to like sugar percussion, man. Jefferson really, really to me knows how to make a drum. So love that
awesome.
thing.
How do you go about miking this kit? What do you like to do here?
Yeah, I mean, what you're looking at is like 99% of the time what I'm doing. Like I said, like, so these are room mics right here. These will get moved to the closet soon. But right now, like the null points of that mic kind of look at the drums. So even though they're close, they're in phase with the overheads, and they're like blown up outboard wise to like just sound totally different. Yeah, so like, you know, I got a sub kick on kick drum, got a 52 inside, just kind of does kick drum stuff. Those two add up really nicely. A snare drum, 57, sure. And then I got a Rode NT5, goes into like this API warm audio clone thing. That thing is just like, I blow it up as much as I can. Nice. And a lot of times just solo, that can be like, especially for like the tight, dry drum thing, that can be like the mic that gives you 90% of the vibe. Then I got an SM81 on the snare bottom.
What's up with this one over here?
Oh yeah, that's a room mic. That also is blown up, faced away from the drums, and that too can...
That's unique.
Yeah, if you get too bashy on the cymbals, that guy can start to become less usable, but that thing sounds awesome. Almost like parallel compression or whatever, you blend that in just a little bit and it's like, oh, there's like some texture to the drums. Hi-hat, SE8, nothing crazy. C414s on the toms, love those. I got those both as tom mics and then also like if I need to swap out the overhead vibe. Then you got some warm audio, not overheads. I love those, they sound awesome. And then this percussion mic, Cascade Fathead. I found like I do all the perk with this, and like also all my percussion is like stashed down here. You know, all these little trinkets. And I found like a ribbon mic, just like, it's like I can brighten it a little bit if I need, but like, I don't know. I just like that thing on percussion. Yeah, I mean, you want to get into preamps and stuff?
Yeah.
Okay. Here.
412 on top, right?
Yes, yeah. And I love that thing. There was one that popped up on Bird Cells. I almost bought another because I really like it. Like that's what this other snare top is going through. And as you can see, I am driving it as hard as I can. But especially if you're playing like really, really quiet stuff, you're being really delicate on the hi-hat and you got like a snare drum, like the guy with the cloth all over it or the boost guy, that and like the kick out mic for like sub can be a whole drum sound. Wow. I love it. So yeah, the 412 going overheads through there. This guy is open. So one of the lines that's over there is that snare top thing. Then I have an Audient ASP that's like snare bottom, rack floor, hi-hat, kick out is going through. And then this weird thing is a Focusrite, like, I don't know, it's not that nice. And it's supposed to be, I think it's supposed to be like a channel strip for your home bedroom production or whatever.
Okay.
So it's not particularly like great sounding, but it has a bunch of like, it's got outboard compression, EQ, and a bunch of stuff. And that's what that mono room mic, the 81.
Oh, cool.
And it is really destroyed through there, but because you can like tame a lot of the high end here, like you don't pay for it too much once it hits the computer. And that thing's cool. Then this La Chapelle vacuum thing is like great, and that's like my percussion, which is like, yeah, kind of a preamp, way more valuable than for just percussion. But I also use that, like, that sounds really good on bass. So sometimes if I have a bass player here, we'll just plug into that. And then the WA-273, I got kick in and snare top, just the 57 snare top going through that.
Oh, cool, yeah.
And then room mics are going through this DIY recording color duo. And that thing is really cool. This got 2 channels, but they're mirror images. Basically with each channel, you get 3 internal circuits or like separate color circuits in it that you can swap out.
Okay.
So they do like kits and stuff. You can buy them. You can buy them pre-assembled, which they sent this to me pre-assembled, but you can buy them as kits and solder them up and do the whole thing, and you save a good amount of money doing it. It's cool. It's really versatile, and I've really enjoyed it, especially on room mics. Room mics have so much more character and color running through that thing than they would just like standard preamp.
What's this room mic here?
It's a Cascade X15. Because I was looking that up because someone asked me about it and I was like, oh, you got to check it out. And I think Cascade might have gone out of business, which is unfortunate because that mic is great. It's a stereo ribbon. Some of you might be familiar with Aaron Sterling. He knows pretty good how to record drums. And I remember talking to him once and he was talking about, like, as I'm recording, I want it to sound good always. Like, when I'm tracking, like, most of what's going on is just over there. I'm a big trackball believer, but not the big one where you got
the Kensington.
Yeah, I've never found that this is not a comfortable wrist position, but this is a comfortable wrist position. So if you haven't tried the trackball, you gotta get on it.
All right.
But yeah, those are wireless. Just pop them over there. Then you're recording. The Stream Deck.
Got Notion in there.
Absolute game changer, Stream Deck. I have like different scenes for different programs that I work in, and Stream Deck is a way of life. It's the best.
All right, so you're rocking Pro Tools.
What
was the interface?
Oh, interface is an Audient ID44.
Audient ID44.
And I like it because it's affordable, it sounds really good, and you get, it's got 4 preamps on it, but you get 16 or 24, 16 in it. I don't remember what it was, but it has a lot of ADAT, and I knew that, when I was upgrading my interface from like the Focusrite Sapphire Pro or whatever, it was like, do I go UA and like kind of get in their world and do their thing, or do I just kind of like start building out outboard stuff and try that route? And I just went that route.
Cool.
Pro Tools is my main DAW, but I'm super comfortable with Ableton, super comfortable with Logic.
Ableton, you said? Did you say you use that for live stuff?
Yes, backing tracks is most. I mean, I have found that certain production things, like if you're working with loops and you need to like change the key of the thing and the tempo and the chop it up, and Ableton is incredible at that. Back in my day, when I was a child, we had to buy CDs, and they're little discs that you pop into a thing. So yeah. Like down here, you have Modern Drummer magazines. I was a long-time subscriber. I spent many thousands of hours as a child combing through those, just obsessing about Vinnie Colaiuta and Dennis Chambers and all my favorite drummers. You have this little guy. This is a book that when you open it up, it's actually a safe.
Oh, that's cool.
And I put my phone in it, and it locks. I mean, the combination is 3, 2, 1, so it's not a big secret, but I just find that like putting my phone in here, doing this, locking it, I just don't think about my phone, and then it's hours later, I'm like, oh yeah, I haven't checked my phone, and that feels better than the inverse, which is spending 2 hours on your phone and then being like, damn it, just spent 2 hours on my phone. Yeah, these are like different drum method books. I practiced a lot of drum method books. Went to school for music and did the whole nerdy thing, so part of the reason I am the drummer I am today, so those live here. And then I got a couple more books, like Effortless Mastery is probably one of my favorite books ever. Incredible. Definitely recommend reading that.
Is that broad, or is that drummer, or?
It is music focused. It's about improvisation, but I think it parallels a lot with just life.
Cool.
Just life. This is set list from probably my favorite show I've ever played. This guy named Cody Fry played it at Belmont in their new like Fisher Center. It's like a second skirmer horn kind of, and it was live full band. Band was incredible, and then there was also like an 80-piece orchestra, and it's
That's a big orchestra.
yeah.
Holy cow.
Cody's like one of my favorite musicians. His music is incredible, and playing on stage with a full orchestra is badass. So
Yeah.
it was super fun. And then I'm a Vic Firth artist, so I have a bunch of Vic Firth drumsticks, which is important when you're hitting drums.
Can you play a CD in this room? Is it possible?
Nope. No, yeah. I have a external CD drive I can plug in, and yeah, I can do it.
Okay, nice.
I can do it.
Nice. I love
yeah.
that you have the actual cases here. All of my CDs wound up in one of those
binder things.
binder,
Yep.
yeah, and then
Yeah, man, I'm a bit of a like
love that they're still in good condition.
yeah, I'm a bit of a that's kind of a thing. I got a lot of copies of this. This is also hanging on the wall over there. This is the first full-length record I ever made.
Oh, wow.
It's a band Remedy Drive. This is a very, very young Tim Buell in that view
Nice.
there. And it was the first full-length record I made, and it was super fun. It's also the end of one of the sessions. I was 22. I had never had alcohol before, and I had my first sip of whiskey. It was Willet whiskey. And then I've loved whiskey ever since. So it's a very memorable record-making experience.
Well, this is really great, man. I love the purpose-built nature of this. I love the simplicity of it. You know, it's all kind of like attainable, but still functional and comfortable, which I think is function and comfort are right at the top of my priorities list when it comes to a
For sure.
home studio. But
Sure.
you got your own personal twist on it. It's really, really nice, man.
Thanks, man. And yeah, thanks for doing this. As we were redoing this place, I was religiously watching your studio builds because I was like, what are people doing? What are people's ideas? So it's such a good resource because like I have a hard time picturing stuff in my head. I have a hard time picturing something that doesn't already exist as far as like physical stuff, and having all those videos to watch and see like the stuff I love about what people have done, the stuff I'm like, yeah, I don't think that's my vibe. It's so helpful.
Well, I appreciate that. Thank you so much, man. Where can people follow you and keep up with what you're doing?
Yeah, man, I have all the things. So I got a YouTube channel. Just search Tim Buell. I have a website, timbuellmusic.com. There I have a bunch of free educational stuff. I have paid educational stuff, and that's where you can find out how to book sessions and all that stuff. I have an Instagram, Tim Buell, TikTok, Tim Buell. I have a podcast. It's called You're Good, Get Better. I've had a bunch of like Cody Fry, artist I've just talked about, is on there. Aaron Sterling, Benny Greb, like a bunch of drummers, bunch of musicians. It's a fun podcast. It's not drummer focused as much as some people would like. It's a lot of like life and like philosophy and that stuff. So some drummers sometimes are like, well, we're never talking about like snare drums. And I'm like, yeah, because who cares?
Yeah, exactly.
Because who cares? But yeah, I think that's all the places.
That's awesome. Well, I'll put links to some of that stuff down below. Give Tim a follow.
Awesome.
And we'll see you guys in the next video. Click this one right here and watch this.
Yeah, that one.